Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about regression and what a regression line is and just how to kind of interpret the formula. Okay, so let's start off with that. So in my example, I'm going to talk about or try and show a relationship between the amount of time students spend studying and the scores that they get on their tests. Okay, so let's look at this equation here. So let's start off with the y hat value is the estimated grades that the student would get. The b naught value is the y-intercept. The slope is at the degree which the line is set at, the regression line. And this plus value can also be minus depending on whether it's a positive or a negative relationship. And x would be the study time, just how much time the student is putting into their studies. Okay, so let's talk about the positive and negative relationship. Okay, so if the explanatory variable x is increasing and the response variable y is also increasing, there is a positive relationship. And if the explanatory variable x is increasing while the response variable y is decreasing, it is a negative relationship. And I'll give you examples of this really quick. So a positive relationship would look like this, kind of similar to the one I already have drawn up. And a negative would look like this, going downwards. Okay, so just to give an idea of what the regression line is it is the values that we have in the data, these values right here, put onto a chart, and what we're trying to do is we are trying to find the best fitting line that is going to fit between those data points. So for example, right over here, we are trying to minimize the error between the line, the dot, and the line distance. This is called the least squares criteria, and we are using it to determine the line of best fit by minimizing the sum of squares. And for the data that I have up here, so there are all the points, and what we do is we add them up and we take the mean for both the x and the y, and this gives us the point where we know the recession line has to cross through. Alright, so the next step, we are going to take the mean x minus x bar. So what would be the x value? 2 minus x bar, the mean, which is -3. And then we'll repeat that process. So 4 minus 5 equals -1, and so on. And these values right here will have to equal up to 0 for both the x and the y values. And if they do not, you know you have did something incorrectly. Okay, so after we've did that, what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to take x value minus x bar and square that. So for example, 2 minus 5, so 2 the point minus the mean 5 and square that value. That gives you 9. You repeat this process and you sum this up, and that comes out to be 18. And this is the denominator when you are solving for the slope, b1. Okay, now to find the numerator. So what we're going to do here is x minus x bar. So that equals out to be -3. And then we're going to do y minus y bar, which equals -2. And we're going to times these values, which equals 6. We're going to repeat this process. And then we are going to take the sum, which equals to 10. And this is our numerator in order to solve for the slope. So it is 10 over 18. Once we solve for that, that's 0.55. And this is our slope value here. Okay, so our next step is, since we figured out what the slope is, we can place that into the equation because we already know what x and y is. So we place the slope value in there. So 0.55, and then we know the x mean value is 5, so we place that there. And then we also know that the y value is equal to 6. So what we're going to do is we are going to times the 0.55 by 5, and then we are going to subtract to get b naught on one side. So this is going to cancel out. So minus 2.75 from 6. This means b naught is equal to 3.25. Okay, so what we're going to end up with is y hat is equal to 3.25 plus, because it's a positive relationship, 0.55 times x, which is how much time the student is putting into their studies. So let's see here. Study time. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks.